Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out to the Shed's annual community meeting. This meeting is an event that we are required to hold every year as part of our standing as a certified housing development organization. It means that we have to be in contact with the people we serve, and we have to report back to the people that we serve. So we don't have any of our city officials with us this evening because yesterday was city council meeting day, but it was Veterans Day. So they moved it all to today. And unfortunately, there was also a study session which starts at 5:30 to 6:30. Otherwise, some of them were going to try to slip in at least for the first half hour or so before they went over to meetings. So they're all tied up across the street. So there's no city council people here. We do have, is anybody here that was a client of Shed who has received our services in the past? Yeah, Ms. Luckett, okay. Brants, tell us how you're involved. Are you volunteers?
We haven't been volunteers yet, but we're just curious.
Fantastic, okay, and Jack?
I've been volunteer for a few years.
Okay, and his wife also, Teresa, is the chair of the senior commission for the city. Okay, Cindy?
Volunteer.
Okay, volunteer, and one of our great local realtors as well. Christina? Okay. You kind of wear multiple hats, don't you? Because she represents a financial institution, and we look to our financial institutions for financial support, but she is also an active member of the Third Ward Revitalization Task Force, and that's very near and dear to Shed's heart as well. Paula? Okay, Paula's from the Urban League. Byron? Come on now. Okay, Byron Price is the chair of the Third Ward Task Force. And he's also one of our past Third Ward councilmen too. I remember that well. Emily? Yeah, Invest STL sponsors and helps a lot of the nonprofit organizations in the St. Louis area. Sue Ann? Okay, fantastic. Victor?
Been board member, but I've been missing for the last 2 years, so I'm not too sure I'm still a board member.
No, you definitely are. Once you're on, you never get off. Okay. But also a longtime resident of the Third Ward of University City, and very active in a lot of different campaigns in University City over the years as well. Stephen?
Let's see, am a board member and been involved with the high school, just recently retired. And I work with the youth development and also our weekends of service.
Excellent, okay. And then Catherine Luckett was one of our clients and will be probably again next year looking for some assistance in there as well. And Dave is here. Dave Bowen happens to be our web guy and our all-around IT help and big help to me. Reggie?
Reggie Scott, board member of Shed on the housing committee and executive.
Okay, so
Fundraising.
that's who we are. So that's who's here, at least at this moment. We're basically going to go through the highlights of 2024, what we've accomplished, broken down by the different programs that we have. Then we'll go over those highlights. We'll do the plans for those same programs for 2025, what we hope to achieve. And then the most important part is that last half hour, and that's the questions and comments and concerns from you. Because our name, the name of Shed, gets mentioned frequently. I've heard it from the mouth of the mayor, from the city manager. The citations, the inspectors, the city inspectors mention Shed. So people know that Shed exists and that we have been a force in the Third Ward helping seniors, veterans, and disabled people for now 15 years. So it's important then if they come to us, say, what do people need? What do people think? We have to know. Because we deal, for instance, we deal primarily with seniors. We deal primarily with current homeowners. You must be a homeowner. So if we're looking for the development of the Third Ward, you're generally going to be looking at a younger person, and you're going to be looking for someone who's basically a renter now, looking to buy a home. Well, we don't have contact with those people. That's not our tribe. So we need to have input from you to know what people are needing, thinking, wanting, so that when they come to us, we can give them a more complete picture. So that's what we want to hear from you today. Okay. So we will start. Okay, third, senior committee, none, third, few people. All right, so we know we were founded in 2009, and basically it was an outreach of Dan Stuckey, who was a member of University United Methodist Church, who was retired and working with Meals on Wheels. And when he was going around delivering these meals, he noticed that there were other needs that a lot of the seniors had. Could basically not find the front door because of the overgrowth of vegetation, or the railing was insecure, or the steps were falling down, or there was a gutter piece hanging off the house. So he went back to his church and said, there's people out there who need more help. What can we do? And they began a conversation and pulling in a lot of the other churches or houses of worship in University City to partner with them. And that's how SHED began. So especially for anybody who is a volunteer, when you go out, you are the modern day Don Stuckey. So when you go out to service a home, to do something in particular that one of our residents has requested, but we also want you to look and see and feed back to us what else is out there, what needs are out there. So we, again, need your input on that kind of a thing. So a couple of years ago, with help from RISE STL, we were able to develop a strategic plan of what we wanted to do. The main focus has always been that volunteer home maintenance program, which is going out to help the seniors, the disabled and veterans. But we also wanted to expand to truly become a housing development organization. So we began to look at expanding what we do with career development for the high school and getting them some hands-on real life experience in that time when the construction trades. Now there's a big push in agriculture, hydroponic agriculture, that's going on at the high school too. That could possibly be incorporated into building homes and environment around a new home. So we're going to try to grab them and pull them in too. We also decided to be a housing development organization. And so we purchased 2 vacant lots in the 3rd ward, and we decided we're going to build 2 single-family homes to be sold to a family low or moderate income. And we started that process this year. So we're going to go into the highlights. The first, for the volunteer home maintenance program, that's my baby. From the beginning to the end, you deal with me. So people say, well, I talked to a lady. It's like, that was me. Okay. This year we only had 22 applications for service. Some years, one year, what was a couple of years ago, we had almost 50. To me, that's a good thing, because it means that the needs have been met. Because, and using my I voice, as my councilman Stacy Clay says, SHED is not really meant to be your annual handyman. We want to step in when there is a problem, something has gotten out of hand, and we need to pull it back into control. But then once we do, we want to put it into control, back into control, so that you can handle the home again. That's the goal. So when I don't see people coming back year after year, that's a good thing. Okay, that's a good thing. 21 homes were serviced. We had over 125 volunteers, totaling about 260 hours of volunteer work. So we thank all of the volunteers that have participated. Home repair. You want to have a list, or you want me to? Okay, all right, so home repair, home for sale home. One of the goals is also to really begin to be able to address those requests for more serious home repair issues. And we are all volunteers. Told from the beginning to the end, we're all volunteers. We are not licensed contractors, except for Stephen, he's a licensed carpenter. But so, I mean, we're limited in terms of what we do. And what we do is minor exterior home repairs. So minor gutter repairs, painting, yard work, a little bit of concrete patch, that kind of a thing. But every now and then you get a call from a homeowner who needs serious home repair. We don't go inside your home. Our insurance does not cover it. So we deal strictly with the exterior. We don't go above one level. Again, our insurance does not carry it. That's our liability insurance. So we have to then hand off the request to other organizations such as Rebuilding Together or Beyond Housing or places like that, that have the licensed contractors on their staff who can do this kind of work. We would love to be able to step in more into that role, but it's gonna take a while to build the funding for that, because we would probably not do it. We would hand it off with the funding to another organization to go ahead and do, but that's something we're looking at. And then, of course, the big one was for sale housing, which we started to do this year. So we've designated as a CHODO, Certified Housing Development Organization. We closed the financing and began the construction on a new home at 6543 Crest Avenue. The new home is expected to be finished and up for sale sometime late spring of 2025 to be sold to a low and moderate income family. And it will be affordably priced and will come with down payment assistance. So that's our goal, what we did this year. Those are a couple of pictures from the groundbreaking ceremony that we had on the 8th of October at the home. A lot of the city officials in the first picture, and in the second one, you've got a lot of folks from the general contractor, the architect. We had people from different churches were involved. We had Rich was there right next to me, was there with Shed from day 2. So, and hopefully he was going to try to make it today, but I don't know if he was able to or not. So we're on our way to getting that home built. Career development. Stephen, you want to address this one? Now again, Stephen has been working closely with he was a teacher at the high school working with career development for construction in particular.
Hi, and yes, we are still trying to continue the relationship with the school district and Shed. The school district in University City has just begun a new pathway, an agricultural pathway. We're the only school district in all of St. Louis County that has this new agricultural pathway, and it's because of Harvest 365. They've kind of taken us under their wing. And so this is another area of career development, as you're going to see in a slide later. Shed was awarded $16,000 by an Ernst grant that is to be used for career development. And this could, the agricultural pathway could be one of those. I used to teach the engineering and construction classes at the high school. This home that we are building on Crest Avenue, E.M. Harris, we have been working with the district and Dr. Martin from the school district to bring a group of kids over at various stages so that they can see what it looks like when the foundation is poured, and then have a professional contractor talk about pouring foundations or then erecting stud walls or each various stage. And so our district and E.M. Harris are both on board with this, and it is something that is in the works. They haven't brought a group of kids over yet, but I've seen the communication, and they will be bringing a group over. Let's see, there are other programs. When we get into the slide with the program, but one is, and I gotta give credit to Reggie here. He is with Washington University. He's with their real estate department. The Washington University tech department that goes in and evaluates apartments, places, and then sees what needs to be fixed, and they send in the workers from WashU. And Reggie and the school district of University City has created a internship for 2 students to work over the summer as a tech. And this can easily parlay into them becoming a tech with Washington University or gaining those technical skills that they can use outside and really take off with a career in construction or in some type of technology. And it's really, really exciting. So that is part of, I guess, our career development. I'm gonna talk a little bit later during another slide. Unless, Red, you wanna go right to 17, we could do that. And then I could be done talking. What's that?
No.
You don't wanna do that? No, okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
Because that's the fun thing. Neighborhood engagement and planning. That's another one of the programs that is again required of us as a CHOTM. And so I began to develop an advisory council, again, primarily for two reasons. One is to hear from you, the people who live in University City, and also hoping to get some input from some younger folks who can then advise us as to what's important to people who want to be first-time home buyers. What are the problems or issues they're having as first-time home buyers, where they need support, what are the problems, that kind of a thing. So I've developed that advisory council, and I'm still looking for additional members to add to that. So again, we keep getting the feedback so that we truly can paint a complete picture for people when the city, especially with the city, because we do hope that they will engage with us when we start looking at the use of the money from the TIF, from the Olive Street construction there, with the Costco project, the Markets at Olive, all of that comes with some funding that's supposed to be directed to the Olive Street corridor and especially to the 3rd Ward for development. So that's important too. We did some, whenever there's a comprehensive plan, because this was also a year where the city was conducting their comprehensive plan for the future. Vision 2040, I think is what it was called. So one of the things we did is we included the survey with any application for service that went out. So again, getting it in the hands of people to make sure that they have a place and a voice. And they may not normally know about it because seniors may not get to a meeting. They may not have internet. They may not be aware of what's going on by web and what's going on around the city. So we just sent it out to them. They returned it to us with their application. We took it over to the city. We did a new home ownership education series, and you'll see there was a flyer out there in the back. We did it last year. We had 4 sessions, and we have 4 sessions going again this year. They're all on Zoom. They're a webinar for about an hour. Different topics. Last year was really strictly focused on first-time home buyers. This year we're doing a little bit differently. We do some for first-time home buyers. What is the process of applying for a home? What about debt? What about your FICO score? What's the process? What do you need to come to the table with? That kind of a thing. But this year we also added a very popular one, was the second session we did, which was on estate planning, which is very important, especially if you have heirs and you want to pass your home along as an asset to your children or your grandchildren. There's some things you need to make sure you have in place, just making sure that that it's titled and it's a clean title. And that if it's for you or the children, that you make that clear and you put it in writing, because we heard very different scenarios, probably at least 4 different scenarios of people who are having issues because something wasn't made clear. So we have to do that. And then the last one, this coming up in December, is actually on insurance. And as you can see in the news, when some of these storms roll through in different areas of the country, people have been having issues because they assume they were covered and they may not be. So insurance is key. You need to know what you need to have and how to go about getting it. So that's coming up with the home education series. And then in April, we actually had an in-person housing fair up at the U City High School in their library. And we had probably at least a dozen vendors there. Several financial institutions were there. Paula was there representing the Urban League. We had an insurance person, an appraisal person. We had a city inspector there. Wash You Live Where You Work was there. It was a real encouraging and fun time when people came together and really talked and learned about the process and what they had to do. Everybody chipped in and gave their scenarios and their anecdotes and anything that would help people learn what the process is and how to go about it. And then they actually had time just to go around to each of the people that were there, the organizations, the financial institutions, et cetera, and ask them one-on-one questions. We're gonna do it again in April this coming year, but I wanna expand it. And I wanna have not only a focus on first-time home buyers and what do you need to do to get into a home, that kind of thing. But I also wanna have another arm that's gonna be addressing the current homeowner. So again, insurance is gonna be one issue. Remodeling, home repair loans, Mr. Fix-It. We may have Home Depot there showing a classic, simple repair that maybe many homeowners would run into. But we're gonna divide it that way. So we're gonna address all of the issues of home ownership within University City. So look for that, it'll be coming up in April. We just gotta find a big enough place because I want a lot of people there. Okay, we will continue our membership with Community Builders Network. That is an organization where a lot of nonprofit organizations belong. So they can pull a lot of information and resources together that we can take advantage of. So that's a big help for us. And we've just joined the Home Repair Network, where it's gonna be twofold. One is just a list of organizations like Shed and others that help, it's out there when people need help and they call. And United Way could be on it, Urban League could be on it, Better Family Life could be on it, Shed is on it, Mission St. Louis is on. All of these organizations that when somebody needs help, if I can't help you, I'm gonna refer you to some other organizations that can help. And then what I hope is the next step is actually some compiling of a list of repair people that we can trust. Because some of our seniors have some money to do some repairs on their home. They're just scared that somebody's gonna take the money and not do the job, start the job and not finish it. They don't return your phone call, all of that. So we want a list of reliable, handy people that we can give those names out and know that they're gonna do the job. So that's our goals for 2025. Okay. This is the current. Cindy, do you want to do any of this?
No, you're doing it.
Okay. Cindy is a realtor with Laura McCarthy Realtor here in University City. A very strong proponent of housing in University City. And she has worked with us to help us identify financial institutions and other specialists to have as our guest speakers for the online education series. They are all recorded and they are posted onto the Shed website under, I think it's a community tab, calendar of events. You can find all of the past sessions there. So if there's a topic that interests you, you can go back and watch it on there. Okay, and then of course we did the in-person fair. Okay, those are a couple of pictures from the actual housing fair that we had at the University City High School. It was a half-day event educating homeowners and prospective first-time home buyers on home ownership. We talked about credit repair, mortgage down payment, assistance, estate planning, landscaping. City of Bloom was there. I see Mary Ann just down here. And home maintenance. About 20 organizations participated. We hope to really increase that significantly this upcoming April. Okay, so. Yes, let me do this. Okay. So before we get to 2025, and I don't see my people here, I want to recognize though some people who were very helpful in 2024. So I was hoping Joel would be here, but he's not here, from Fontbonne University, who's been a big supporter for volunteers, student volunteers coming out, both in April with their Earth Day event, and then also, of course, in our October work day. They were a big supporter for us. Grace United Methodist Church, both financially supporting us and also in terms of sending out volunteers, and it helped us with additional volunteers because they had a youth group that came in June from Wichita, and they were looking for something to do. So they partnered with Shed and got about 6 homes done that summer. Helping them greatly to be recognized is Linda Yule Taylor, who's across the street. with the study session, because they are planning at people's requests to get another summer camp program going during the summer at Centennial Commons. So that was a whole study session that was going on over there today. And she really helped us. It was just a matter of the youth group stays at the church. The church has bathrooms. They have toilets. They have wash basins. They don't have showers. It's 92 degrees out, and these kids are out working in people's yards. And it's just, Linda, can you help? She went back, rummaged around, found a program, $30 for the month, non-residents, access to the pool, showers, and fun in the pool. Just a matter of asking the right person, you got the right answer. We want to honor also Great Southern Bank. They have been our financing arm for this whole new home build, and they have been very patient with us, as it sometimes takes a while from the county to get the funding to actually keep moving things forward. So, and we finally got all that taken care of, and they've just been a great partner with us, so we wanted to recognize them. And our two individual volunteers, longtime volunteers, Jerry and Paige Bonet from Our Lady of Lourdes, and they were supposed to be here, but I'll have to get their certificate to them. But they've been a big help to us over many, many years. Okay, so on to 2025. What's the goal? What's the goals for 2025? So again, break it down by program. The volunteer home maintenance, I need help. So we need to establish a committee to really coordinate the volunteer home program. So I'll be looking for volunteers who really want to work with me to manage that program from beginning to end. When the announcement comes out in the roars in February that says it's time to call for an application, and the calls start coming in and the applications start going out, and then the assessments have to be done, and then we got to get the volunteers and we got to get them out there and get them out there the day of service, buy the supplies, take the pictures, and thank the volunteer organizations. That's what I do. So we need help with that. The goal is probably between 30 and 40 homes every year to service. So that's going to be what we'll do. Work days still scheduled for a weekend in April, and then another weekend. Okay. And then another weekend, the big one is in October. So those are going to be their two, still same time frame. Expand the collaboration with Washington University to provide more opportunities for students and staff to kind of take over the place of Fonbon, because we're gonna miss them by the time October comes around. And then we want to continue to expand the volunteer network as a whole. We do need lots more volunteers so that people don't get burnt out. We want to be able to kind of rotate in and rotate out. So we'll be doing that. On the home repair program, again, that's a goal. That's one of those areas that we really want to work on. But we'd have to have, first of all, we'd have to have additional funding to do that, to do those larger home repair requests. So we'll be working on that. From funding from places like the Mariac Fund, we've had help from the Port Authority. They were the ones who provided the funds that actually paid off the 2 lots that we have purchased to build homes with. Market at Olive Tiff. Keep your eyes posted on that as to, we should be about ready to start hearing what the plans are for this money that was designated to be used for the Olive Corridor and the 3rd Ward. We want to know what's going on with that and make sure people really, it's really used for us and used in a way that people want it to be used. And of course, HUD, the Federal Agency, Housing and Urban Development, is what funds the county funds that we apply for to actually build the homes. So all of it is again to assist the homeowners in the 3rd Ward with any kind of home repairs they have. For sale housing, obviously the first thing is get the Crest home finished and then get it sold. So we'll be working on that, sold to a low to moderate income family. We'll continue looking at areas not only for new housing, lots for new housing, new construction, but also potential homes that we can purchase in rehab, because it will be less expensive than building a new home from scratch. But then rehab comes with its own possible problems because you don't know what condition the home is actually in when you start opening up some of those walls. And how much really needs to be rehab that no one will ever really see because it's all behind the walls. Electrical has to be updated, plumbing has to be updated, all of that is not gonna be just all the new sparkling floors and the new cabinets and all of that. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that has to go on. That's why rehab can be a little tricky too, but we want to do that as well. Seeking them to purchase and sell at affordable prices. We want to assemble financing to build the second home on that second plot that we currently own. But also would like to honestly do something every single year to fill in those vacant spots, to rehab those homes that are in disrepair. All of that adds value not only to that particular street, but to that neighborhood, to the entire third ward, to the entire city. So we know that vacant lots, we've seen it on news and other places, they become dumping grounds for trash. Derelict places, vacant homes, people are just squatting in there because nobody's watching what's going on. So we've got to do something to increase the stability of the third ward. We often say that the third ward is a neighborhood on the edge. And that means that it's one of America's middle neighborhoods. It's not blighted. It may not be the most thriving area of the city. And which way it will go will depend on how much attention to and investment in people are going to make. If you let it go, it will go into an area of blight. It will take a whole lot more to bring that back than just doing some investment in that home, in that area now. So we're pulling for more investment and concern in the area to give it stabilization. It will never, the homes there will never be the pricey homes that are in the first ward. But it was meant to be an area of affordable homes for working class people. And I often remembered, I thought, gee, why would they build these homes so small? Because when the landlords, the landowners, the names you know, Kingsland, Sutter, Cavaney, Ferguson, they were the big landowners. And when they parceled out that land and sold it, they told the developers how much space they want, how much the lots were supposed to be, how much they were supposed to spend per square foot. And it always amazed us, like, but didn't they know that families back there were bigger than what they are now? But they were affordable. And so people could get in. And that's the point. You've got to get in. So they're smaller, they tend to be 2-bedroom, 1 bath, they had a full basement, they were brick, and a lot of them are still standing and doing well. Ours is going to be bigger than that, but it's still going to be there. It's going to be the entry point for home ownership. You've got to get in somewhere. So get in and start, grow the equity. Then if you want to move on to a larger home or something, then you do so. But you've got to find an area where you can get in. And this is the third ward. Okay, workforce development, here we go.
Is Mimi amazing, eh? I mean, just completely connected with our community, and just, it's wonderful working for her. So workforce development, as I mentioned earlier, Shed received a Ernst Grant Economic Development Retail Sales Tax Grant for $16,000 to be used for workforce development. Hi, Steve. That Councilman McMahon. That falls under an umbrella of developing the workforce, obviously. And so we have several ways that we would like to address that. I mentioned earlier, the internship between WashU and University City High School. We want to continue that. It is met with huge success. Kids are asking the principal already about program next year, and so that's really been good. The speaker series, and I'm gonna just expand because we have a partnership with E.M. Harris. That is a construction company building the house on Crest. Harvest 365, I mentioned them with this agricultural pathway. Beyond Housing is also part of Unleashing Potential, and Shed did a community project with Unleashing Potential this summer at Caroline Mission. And it was two 501c3 organizations getting together and building 10 garden beds at Caroline Mission. And they are now growing vegetables out of those garden beds. And another little success story of our partnerships. The ones we're talking about could also create vocational opportunities. This house we're building on Crest. Dr. Martin from the school district is organizing a group of students to come over and see various stages. We would also like to bring professionals to the high school to talk about those various stages, and it doesn't have to be just construction, real estate, different areas of, of vocations that could possibly open the door for certain students. And then with this home we're building on Crest, I have been in contact with our school district, the school district of U City. I am still a certified teacher. And so once the home's finished, it's gonna need a fence and gonna need a little deck on it. And we're gonna create a class this summer and I'm gonna take a group of high school kids over. We're gonna build a deck and build a fence. They're gonna design it and build it, and they will get high school credit for it as well. So these are our trying to develop our workforce and our youth.
That's gonna be so key. It's important to me that the young folks that are living in U City and tend to be committed. I mean, U City has a very loyal following. I mean, there are generations of folks living in University City. They get a chance to understand what it takes to maintain a home, to own a home, what work is involved in it. And hopefully makes them committed to staying in University City. Hopefully also makes them more confident that they can be a homeowner too. So we start instilling these ideas in these young people when they're still in the high school, giving them the confidence also to do some of their own home repairs. So it's kind of we're trying to keep that trust, we call it that brain trust here in University City, and also educate our students so that they can also, for those who want to get into the trades, and it is not, this is my personal story now, not for me, but for my son. It's still difficult for people of color to get into the trades, to get into the unions, so that they can be a part of these trades. As my son was Naval Reserve, his apprentice was in electrical work. My dad was an electrician, IBEW chapter number 1. None of that helped him when he showed up at IBEW's campus over there off of Hampton. They still like, no, we're not gonna give you any credit for that, no. It's like, okay, this is not right. So if the more these young people who want to be in construction can get some hands-on experience, hopefully it'll help ease that path actually into being accepted into the union where they could really take off and grow. And we hear all the time, the construction trades people, they're aging out. We need 50,000 more of them across the country. And yet there's still that barrier for some of our kids trying to get in there. So all of this work in workforce development is going to help. And this ag program, which is on hydroponic growing, which is growing in water and not growing, needing all that soil. These are the folks that are doing the rooftop gardens and all of this kind of thing. This whole ag program, which is at the high school now, is going to blossom into a 4-year program. And as far as I know, there's only 2 in the state. Lee Summit, and they jumped on it. They got approved for it like the day before we did at University City High School. So we're the only 2, but we're driving that whole interest in that whole area, because growing food with issues of climate change is going to be very, very important. So we want to grab them too and bring them along with us so that they can take advantage of this fund that we got from EDRST, which is the Economic Development Retail Sales Tax. That's a fund what the city has that they can parcel out to different organizations who are trying to move things forward in University City. So we're going to be doing that. We need to continue to advocate for the third ward in the development of the Olive 170 TIF funding, especially for the current residents, because I know a lot of them are thinking, hopefully I can get there'll be some grant money for me to help me fix up my home. So we want to continue to push for that. Maintain and expand the Community Advisory Council. If you want to be on that, please get on info@shedstl.org and let me know. Continue partnering with other local nonprofits. Stephen talked about getting together with an organization in the city, Unleashing Potential, which used to be called Neighborhood Housing, and it's basically an early childhood education series. And they had a school, and they had their own flower beds and garden beds in the city, well in South City. And those beds were falling apart, and they needed to be rebuilt, and they needed to be larger. So they grabbed Stephen. Stephen got involved. He said, come on, can Shed help us? Shed got involved. We pulled out all of our tools that we had that they could use. He led the building of the new beds. We had people from Shed, Christ the King, First Congregational, and Notre Dame alumni. And everybody was out there doing the work. And it was a way for, on a selfish side, it was a way for Shed to expand its name into a larger community without having to really increase our capacity. But the other thing was, that's a way for us to continue helping people help people. So we're gonna do that. Accommodating the youth group that came in through Grace United Methodist, that came in from Wichita this summer, giving them jobs to do. That's a way of helping people help people. So we want to continue that. Now, for organizational capacity, we need to hire another part-time executive director. We have to get that in place, especially now that we have this funding coming from the county to build this home. This is federal money. I personally don't want my name attached to that. Don't come to me. I need the executive director here, but we need people who are well educated in this area. I want all I's dotted and T's crossed. I want everything done properly and done well, because if nothing else, I want to be able to go back to the county every year to ask for funding to continue to build. So we need that, and we need someone there who really can devote a lot more time to searching for grants and for funding so that we can increase that rehab possibility and do those larger home repair requests. We need somebody to guide us with that. But we want to broaden our volunteer and our staff capacity. Develop new sustainable annual fundraising. That's going to be key to maintaining the staff and be able to do more in larger projects. We need to recruit new board and committee members. I would like to add a youth member from the high school. And we want some additional third ward residents on here. Now, we are restrained somewhat as a CHODO, as a certified housing development organization. We had to do an annual meeting. We have to have an advisory council. A third of our board should represent the people we serve. So it limits us, especially the key function is low to moderate income people. So sometimes people want to volunteer, but they don't fall in that group. But if you can bring a needed skill, knowledge, or expertise, come on. Okay, so there could be a way we could work you all in. If not, then please feel free to say, okay, Mimi, I'll help you with volunteer home maintenance. Okay, Steve, I'll help you with workforce development. Okay, Cindy, I'll help you with the educational arm. Jump in. There's a place for you on a lot of these committees, and we could definitely use your help. Okay, so now comes your chance to talk to us, and we want to, given what you've seen, these were the basic 3 questions. How do Shed's goals align with the neighborhood needs? How can Shed continue to engage with the community? And again, make sure the larger community, because remember, our tribe is the seniors, veterans, disabled folks. There's a whole lot of other folks, younger folks, non-homeowners, that kind of thing. How do we continue to engage with the community to make sure we are meeting the needs of the community? And what kinds of things that you think Shed could do? Now, don't throw out, I can't do, probably can't do anything about world peace right now. But what we can, given our sphere of influence, okay? What impact would you like to see that makes some changes in the neighborhoods? So this is your time now to talk to us. Any comments, any concerns? Jack?
Yeah, I had heard Habitat mention, all the things that you've been using, do we not engage with them, or do they have restrictions or significant?
Well, Habitat for Humanity has taken advantage, has approached the city several times to purchase or takes vacant lots to build homes. Okay, that I know, because the last time was probably before COVID, because I know I showed up live at a council meeting to vouch for them and ask them to move forward with it. But we don't stray into them. I know they're beginning to do some other things, such as home repair and helping people. We have not really investigated that, but part of that is just not having the people and the time to reach out to all the various organizations that are doing things. Because I always tell my board, and I've told them since I've been on for 5 years, since we reconstituted this new board in 2019, because by that time Shed was 10 years old. And a lot of the board members were people my age, and they were getting a little tired. It was actually talking about dismantling Shed. And Adam Brown was working at the city as a planner, and he became our first executive part-time director, moved on to a full-time job. He said, no, let's give him one more shot. And then we reconstituted a new board. But we need the help to really, the staff, to reach out to all these people. I always tell them, do not reinvent the wheel. If there's someone out there who can do the work, if we can have the funding, give it to them and let them go do the work. We don't all have to now become licensed contractors to do this more sophisticated work. Let's find an agency that's doing it and support them.
And that, one of the things I know, just as volunteer, several churches got together and funded a house. This got probably 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
$60,000, let's say, for a number of years.
Okay.
And say, okay, you guys contribute 10,000 each, and we'll have somebody manage as a general contractor.
Mhm.
You guys come in and we can, for like 13 weeks, I mean, it took a long time, the whole summer, 6 weeks. So it's a big project, I understand, but I didn't know, if that's outside the sphere or we're interested in it. I don't have any context.
At this point, I would say it's outside our capacity. Because wise people once said, decide what your lane is going to be, stay in your lane and build capacity. And that's why this concept of helping people and other people help people is something that I'm really looking forward to, because we don't have the capacity to do some of these larger things, but we can help other people do these things as well. But as far as I know, Habitat for Humanity is still building it in University City. Yeah. Ms. Luckett.
I'm a little confused on forgetful.
That's okay.
Is Shed just the University City?
Yes, at this point it is.
So, has it always been called Shed? It was Shed?
It was Shed, but it had the acronym stood for Safe Homes for the Elderly and Disabled.
Oh,
And we've just changed the name to ME, Sustainable Housing and Equitable Development, once we moved past the volunteer home maintenance program and really got into looking at homeowner education and actually building homes. But it's always been Shed. Yeah, Christina? Yes.
find how and the ways the member organizations and that goes to your second question about how to get it.
Okay.
Opinion again in terms of the people who the house was specifically targeting. that
Mhm.
that is a way for you to get pictures and maybe even have an opportunity for pictures to prepare themselves prior to that household buy.
Right, exactly. And that's important. Yeah, being ready to step in when the house is available. I know when we had the groundbreaking, we did have this flyer, and I think there were some on the table outside. And it was by Brown Core Camp, was the original real estate agent that we had involved with this. So it is there. I guess the one thing is we need to go ahead and get farther along in the construction. But then there will be advertising on it, and then when the house goes up for sale, so people can get going. Educating people before, so that they can get ready to buy a home, that's something that's popping up. There's two topics that are actually popping up. That's one of them. And we need any ideas, advice, etc., to reach out to those people, because again, I say, those new, younger people who are renting, not home buyers, that's not my tribe. So if I said, okay, I'm gonna go through my whole contact list and let them know, we're already homeowners and we're seniors. Our homes are paid for. We're not looking for a new home. Okay, so I need more input for you when we start doing this housing fair and doing these webinars. How do we pull those people in? How do we get to those renters and say, come on, learn some of this so that you can be ready, how our credit score is calculated. You know, increase your savings, decrease your debt. What do you need to, all of these things, how do we get to them? Okay,
So to all to prepare people.
right.
So this year, this conversation was interested in being prepared for whatever their time is.
Mhm.
Everyone that about all the.
Okay,
Not just credit and not just get the income, but maintenance.
yes,
um,
getting prepared.
all the things that traditionally people not all of the awareness of property policy. So I think there's an opportunity for us to partner in a way that even before construction happens, starting in January, figuring out a way to connect with the firm, what residents who they to.
Mhm. So yeah, I would love to turn that over to you. And by all, because remember what I said, don't reinvent the wheel. Okay, so yes, if there's somebody out there who's doing that, by all means, get a hold of me, because when we start, even the home, the webinars, we want people to be able to jump on for an hour webinar and gain some information, or begin to ask some questions, or begin to think about some things. So while they're a renter, so that they can be prepared for home buying. So by all means, just copy me on the email, okay? Yeah, we'll join in with you. Ms. Brandt, you had your hand up? Okay, all right. Any other concerns, any other questions, anything else that we can do better to make, especially the third ward and hopefully the further development of the third ward happen? Rosalind?
And it was really meant for all housing. And so I think would be. Change it probably have to actually that. Taxes. Will exist. And. It's the status of
Okay, I know that, there was a third ward revitalization task force that was put in place to start looking at some of the issues and concerns. I know that they did engage a consultant yard company to assist them with that job. And as far as I know, is at the end of this month, there's supposed to be a study session where, and correct me if I'm wrong, Christina or Byron, at the end of this month, there'll be a study session with the city. Okay, everything has to be then presented to the mayor and council, and then they just make the decision from there, which suggestions, for how to use the money, okay, are going to be accepted and then put in place. So we're all still waiting to see what the plan is. But remember that 10 million was also, as if I'm correct, is over the life of the TIF. So what I saw, 23 years. Yeah. So what I saw this year on the budget, the end of June, when they had the budget presentation for 2024, 2025, there was about $108,000 that was put in place coming out of that money. So it's not, it's not a whole lot of money. I don't know what programs they're going to suggest and how the funding could be parceled out. I don't know. We're all waiting to hear that. But I think that's going to be the next study session later on this month. November 25th. Okay, so now listen, if you can't attend, the study sessions are always held 5:30 to 6:30 over at City Hall on the 5th floor. And then it goes into the regular council meeting. If you cannot attend, it is recorded and you can watch it on YouTube. I have watched every study session and every council session since 2020. The audio recordings of the third ward task force are there as well. So okay, yeah, so that'll be the big one on November 25th. Is that Monday, November 25th, study session 5:30 over at City Hall 5th floor. That's all going to be about this TIF development plan. Rosa.
Which have restrictions on their use. And so I'm concerned about what, there's supposed to be a fund to separate the TIF funds. And so I'm not sure what's being put there and whether the city council is it's going to be should be budget in anticipation of getting the funds. So, I'm not quite sure who's going to do this, but I might go before council and let them know there's monies that are not being made available. There may be 3 million, but there's 2 million. You're not going to get any more funds with that mandate consistency. And so I think it's a very serious concern, because when I was the community development director, we did a study of how many rental housing, single family houses are being rented. And in 2004, I can't tell you exactly the number, but it sprinkled all over this. By 2017, they had doubled, and I had no idea what it is now. running out of homeowners, they're all getting older. Black communities have problems with appraisers, banks. Banks don't have much control over it, but nothing has really changed. And so we wonder why you have so many rental housing is because there's no available monies for low cost mortgages in places.
Well, I will tell you, that, the last number I saw, which was earlier this year from University City, and that really happened in 2008 with that housing crisis there. The number of rentals, absolutely just blew up, especially in the third ward. The city as a whole, the number I saw, the city as a whole, single-family homes that are rented, not owner occupied, is about 22% across the whole city. It's like 35% in the third ward. And when you see this, the red dots on the map from before 2008 and after 2008, it's talking about a red wave. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. We did lose a lot of homes to investors. And we want to change that. Now, listen, a well-placed renter is a good thing. I mean, we all started probably in an apartment with roommates. So they have to start somewhere, but a well-placed renter will stay twice as long as a regular renter, and they'll be invested in the neighborhood. But if you've got a series where people are turning over and turning over and turning over, there's not that stability, that security, that investment in the neighborhood. So yes, I have said since the beginning, just personally get a story, when my church showed up in January of 2019 in front of the mayor and the city manager and said, we're watching. Okay, because the people, all by that time, and especially now, the Catholic Church has gone through quite a revision and a lot of parishes have merged together. We cover all of you, from Delmar South, about that is for all of our church. So that means all of the third ward and on into Pagedale, Bonita Park is part of our church. So we wanted them to know we're watching. We want to make sure that this money that people believe is going to come to them to help them maintain their home is going to come to them. Now, it's not a whole lot of money. You heard the dollar amount. It's not a whole lot of money, but we do want to make sure that it is used for the betterment of the third ward, the stability of the third ward, to help those that are current homeowners in the third ward. And yeah, we all need to watch, and we all need to be able to hold the city accountable for what they say they're going to do. That's also going to be another factor. Any other comments? Christina, go ahead. Okay.
Thinking about there's opportunity to post either online or per se conversations about how the homeowners can maintain and keep their homes, and what are all the programs that are available to share the need, contribute to connect people to the well, share and have ongoing conversations, because I don't know if everyone in the third ward knows about share. I think everyone, people on the east end of the community probably has more awareness of what you're building a house there. But as you move further west,
They do. They do.
I just don't see it. I'm in the middle of it.
Right,
So
yeah.
I don't really see it.
Yeah, we do. We cover all of the third ward, always have, and the second ward and the first ward too.
I'm just
We get calls.
You see. Now I see your comments, right? But
Okay.
I've been into you probably the first time I've seen just the visual version of share.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe how we could do that. Touch point without the year.
Right.
On topics that are mostly needed for people who actually want to.
Yes, and that's why I said my idea for this next year's housing fair was not only just to focus on programs for first-time home buyers, but what do current home buyers need in terms of maintenance, insurance, remodel help, loans for home improvement, all of that. We need to address both, because if nothing else, the housing stock in University City tends to be older. I mean, everything was probably built after, what, 1960 or something. I mean, my house is 90 years old this year. So we do need, how do we stay on top of that? Remember, going back to what I said, people are very loyal to University City. They're gonna be in those homes. They're gonna be in those homes forever. So how do we help them protect that? For many people, the largest asset they will ever own is that home. And it's an asset that can be passed on to their children to give additional wealth down to the next generation. So by all means, and the key is exactly what you're talking about. So I'll be calling you, because it's how do we get the word out? Cindy was talking to me as a real estate agent. As I mentioned, the largest attendance we had at our webinar was the second one on estate planning. We probably heard 5 different scenarios of problems that people are having because they don't have clear title, or there's competition here, or somebody's arguing about it over there. Okay, so we need to be able to reach these people, but the question is how? How do you get to them? Several different scenarios that she ran into, that people are now up in age and trying to get out of the house, and now there's all kind of issues that they're now finding. The title's not clear. There's another person on there and their children are arguing. I mean, all of this. There are ways to help them, but how do we get to them to say, here's the help, or preferably, here's the help before you get to the problem? How do we reach them? You can copy me on that email too. Because that's the key. How do we get, there's help out there. How do we get to the people who need the help? Go ahead, Patricia.
One information, I was just at a study session at City Council tonight. And they were talking about.
Summer programs. Right.
They, mentioned, the city manager mentioned that on the horizon, that they're gonna look at hiring a third board revitalization for, coordinator. So that probably will come up.
Okay.
So, that is something to be aware of, and that could be an advocate for you.
Yes. Yeah, very, very much so. I think that was definitely one of the recommendations from Yarn Company, that they would need somebody to shepherd this program, because they didn't, the current people, the city manager, the deputy city manager, the planning and development department, they're up to their eyeballs in work. This is a major one, not necessarily one time, I hope it happens again, but a major influx of money dedicated to a specific task within University City. We need to execute it well. We need to draw in as much other money from other places, financial institutions that have Community Reinvestment Act money to spend, draw them in. Because as I mentioned, that $10 million over 23 years breaks down to $100,000 a year. It's not a lot. I mean, even if you gave grants of $10,000 each to homeowners, that's 10 people. So we definitely need somebody to really shepherd that program and watch and hold them accountable. Go ahead.
Or, the Washington University.
Yes.
There is a developer, major developer in St. Well, now he's in Chicago. So has projects in St. Louis. I think it's McCarthy, but one quote is Steve McCarthy, the other one is Steve. One of the vice presidents, is an alum of War, a black woman, I think it was talking about. If you get her here, that maybe they could sponsor some insurance. If they're in the construction business.
Okay.
Clark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bob Clark.
I knew
Clayco.
it was one of the seats.
Clayco.
And,
Yeah. We have been involved, especially before Stephen retired. We were very much involved with CCDI, Clayco Construction Development Initiative,
Consortium,
something initiative.
Youth Development.
Okay, development initiative, yeah. They have an arm that's very much involved in this kind of a thing too, working with young people and educational sources to develop the future tradespeople that we need. So, yeah, we're still involved with them. We've got a contact there as well. Yeah. We have a lot of contacts. It's just, there's a lot going on. We are very few. That's why I say keep copying me on the emails, okay? So that I know, I keep aware of what's out there and what's going on. But it's gonna take somebody, that's why we need the funding to get the staff, because we've got to have somebody who really can spend a lot of time on top of those issues and kind of coordinating it. Jack?
And the other thing I was mentioning, Stephen, I was reading a while back about this whole construction technology, location they're putting south of the arch, that they're basically building, it's a group of construction companies with funding, like redevelopment south of the arch. So technology and tradesmen and all that stuff. Are you aware of that?
No, Jack, if you could, send me some information.
Yeah, I saw, it was an article that it's like $1.2 billion investment over like 5 to 10 years, and they're reconstituting some old buildings, and it's gonna be like a hip place to be, supposedly. And it just blew my mind, and it was really like a Midwestern, it wasn't just, like companies from the Midwest coming into St. Louis to fund this thing. It was just, you almost couldn't believe it. It's in St. Louis.
Yeah, I remember hearing something about that one time, yeah.
But
A
anyway,
new hub, yeah.
Well, it's a huge program, so I don't know, they were gonna educating kids, getting them, into the trades, out of high school and all that stuff, so. I'll.
No, I really appreciate that. That's
Yeah.
the first time hearing.
No promises, but one of our customers is actually the guy in charge of that. We'll see it later.
Okay, okay, so it's info@shedstl.org and send it through and we'll pass it on to Stephen.
And, they have my, phone number actually.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so, CCDI does, that's for sure.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Catherine, you wanted to say something?
I feel a bit out of place here,
Why, sweet?
because, it seems like I'm just a resident going through the situation.
Okay, but that's who we serve.
I live in the third ward.
No, you're in the second. You're in the second.
But I came to see if I could find more resources to help me save my house.
Okay,
I've been dealing with water and flooding since 14. And even most recently, last week,
mm-hmm,
my house flooded again. I'm near the creek, but I'm not, it's not a creek problem.
No.
It's a situation with the support planning of my house in my neighborhood.
mm-hmm,
And MSD won't help me, everything's on my property. U City won't help me because, I share, but the problem is coming from an easement in, I don't have a lateral problem, let me in. I've tried, expanded, used up all of my financial situations trying to fight this flood. And now I need some technical skill work to like dig ditches work. Because I can't pay them anymore. Get French drains put in, everything.
Yeah.
And I'm still. So.
okay,
That's why I came.
okay.
See if there were other resources you might be able to look at.
Okay, it's something I'll have a conversation with the plant, we'll start with the planning department, because they also run with the city inspectors and things like that. You're not alone. You're not alone. Our main issue is that we have a stairwell that goes down into our basement. So we have a sump pump at the bottom of our stairwell. But when you get those heavy rains, that water can still seep underneath out the door. And then on the front, we have if you don't have one, it does help. If your sewer ever backs up, we have a backflow valve. So when it starts raining heavily and that water starts to back up the sewer, the main sewer line, that gate drops. So that cannot come into your house. The water's coming under the door. You open the drain, it can only go so far because the main sewer line gate is closed. And then it starts. Yeah, so, and it's like, okay. And that's why I told my husband, I said, Vanessa, it's okay. We have to find one. My neighbor years ago when I first, I've been in my home 41 years, I'm in the third ward. She had an exterior door that she literally would prop up on the edge of her porch, her back porch, and cantilever it over her stairwell and literally closed off her stairwell. She didn't get the rain. I said, we're gonna try that. Yeah, because, I mean, and because you're not, yeah, we're not in the flood zone. But it's just that there can be such a downpouring of water. It has to go somewhere. And unfortunately, it's coming in our houses. Yeah, in our basement. So, yeah. I will start researching that for you. I'll research that for you. I don't know what the answer is, but I'll start researching.
Okay.
Rather than you have a solution, please. No. Okay.
No, I suggest that we ask the city to beef up its code enforcement people. We have concentrated code enforcement, especially for the rentals. Because I suspect that they not investing that, but probably they're charging. rent.
That meeting we had in 2019 with Christ the King and the city manager and the mayor. I told him you ought to take some of that money and hire a part-time inspector to just deal with rentals. Because there are people who are not taking care of the property well. They've done some changes within the city with the planning department because there were issues such as a landlord would be cited and then they may be fined and whatever, okay, and then they took care of the problem. But then they would be cited again. But there was no record of the first citation. So they were treated as a new person instead of an aggravated person. And they just, kept paying the little fine and then neglecting and then paying the little fine and then neglecting because the system didn't pick them up as a repeat offender. And they were changing over the whole system this year to take care of that kind of a problem. But yeah, it is, again, like I said, it's a well-placed renter and a well-maintained rental property will affect the value of an input as well. I want to end there, but before I do, I have something special. Yep. Volunteer Appreciation Certificate. Jerry and Paige Benet. So you're gonna have to be here. Long-time volunteers with Shed, long-time volunteers with Our Lady of Lourdes. So nice, and you've been in my shoes at one time, trying to organize this kind of a thing when Marsha Marvelstein position was removed from the city, and they had to step in and actually take over that here and organizing all of that day of service.
Couldn't have done it without Mimi and Steve. I mean, my God, this is amazing.
Yeah,
Oh my
we
God.
love you guys. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, so how can you get involved? Obviously volunteer. Join the Community Advisory Council, those of you with the good ideas. Join a board committee to help with some of these programs. Apply to become a board member, donate to Shed by all means, talk to your friends about donating to Shed, spread the word about Shed. Keep in touch and tell us what you think. So you can always just email info@shedstl.org or the phone line 782-SHED. That's me. So you'll be getting me. But again, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. If there's help out there, give it to us so we can pass it along to others. If there's ways that that you can move some things forward and you could use our help, let me know and we can join forces together on that. Okay, and the last line I think was just a list of our big thank you to our partners, to our sponsors, and to our faith-based organizations, which really provide the bulk of our volunteers. So it's 7:30. I want to thank you guys for coming. We're going to be here for another few minutes. There's plenty pizza back there. Please feel free to take some home with you and the cookies too. But we'll be here for a few more minutes if you want to stay around and still just have some conversations. We'd love to have. All right. Thank you for coming tonight. Well, okay.